scaly lizard. Deathload, meet SNAPTRAPPER.
That's not what we meant! Copy, paste, copy, paste, send, copy, paste, send, copy, paste, send, copy, paste, send. Objection! That's not freaking SNAPTRAPPER! Yeah, what a tease! What a joke! That was
Okay, after what we did with last season, okay, hold on. Hashtag.
Yes, for every episode, in the last season. Hashtag give us the SNAPTRAPPER. What do? You pretty much you drop this on us. Is that? I'll bet you're just laughing over there, aren't you, DreamWorks?
I bet they are.
All right.
Deep breath. Okay.
One potato, two potato, three potato,
4, 5 potatoes, 6 potatoes, 7 potatoes, but smalls.
All right.
Okay.
So we're talking about the two-parter episode Wings of War. So it's covering episode 8 and 9, and deals with the aftermath of From Dawn of Destruction, where the writers have now been pretty much. They're now forced out of their island.
And honestly, it's a good arc. I will admit, it is a good arc, but this should have been not just a two-parter. This should have been like an overarching. This should have been an entire season.
I am kind of inclined to agree. I mean, because it kind of would be interesting to see how well they could write an overarching narrative.
Yes.
With this whole thing, because they sort of did it in the last season.
Yeah.
Sort of.
So it would have been so much more interesting to see that Hiccup losing, and by losing, like we're talking about like a bigger loss than what happened. Was it season 2 of Race to the Edge when Vigo won?
And see, oh right, yeah, with Maces and Talons. Yes.
This will be a bigger loss because he just lost his base.
Yeah, and the base which we established back in episode one of this current season is that this symbolizes his freedom, his adventurous spirit.
Yes, and so the fact that honestly this should have been more like episode 2 or 3 because this should have been the entire season trying to get back the edge. And the fact that we could go back to Burke.
Yeah.
Which we can see the changes.
Right. But I do have to ask, how long would they be able to kind of go around the idea that they would have to, harm the dragons? Because that's kind of what this arc does kind of address, which I gotta admit is brilliant on, I don't know, was Krogan the one that came up with that? Because that almost sounds like something that
Vigo,
yes, would come up with.
Speaking of Krogan, I'm starting to notice a little pattern thread here. So in season 2, we're introduced to Riker, and the thread I noticed that of each new new big bad of a season, by the next season, they become the dragon, pardon the pun, to the next bad.
What he means by dragon is he means like the second in command. Kind of like, Darth Vader to Emperor Palpatine. We said that somewhere in our earlier vlogs. Take a look at them.
Yeah. So anyway, so Riker was a big bad in season 3 or 2?
Season 2.
Becomes the second in command in season 3 to Vigo.
And Vigo was, the main bad for 3 and 4.
And now Vigo is second in command in season 5 to Krogan. So what's next?
But the difference here is that unlike Dagger or Riker, is that Vigo still kind of commands some sort of authority. that's kind of the thing that kind of redeems this whole little, because Krogan is just
bland.
He's bland. He's not interesting. He walks around with this arrogant nature, like everything is just gonna go perfect for him. Like, I don't even know what. I think that you can consider that a flaw, but what makes him tick? What makes him angry? What makes him happy? Just what makes him
He's just
interesting.
Well, honestly, you can peg him down as being bloodthirsty. That's all you need to know. Mm-hmm. He's predictable.
He is. So, like I said, but that's kind of the chemistry between Krogan and Vigo that kind of makes it interesting, mostly because it's Vigo is the one who's pretty much not really taking any shit from Krogan. I mean, he's pretty much the only one with a backbone to say to Krogan is that you are being stupid. Pretty much.
And Krogan is more interesting in snapping necks and killing random mooks. In fact, he has such a low opinion of his red shirt army that he would just toss them over a side like they're playthings.
True. But then again, the red shirts, they pretty much are mass produced because they all pretty much look the same. They don't have.
Are you sure this is not the clone army?
I'm sure this is a clone army.
But no, honestly, no joke, this actually happened. No, hold on, skip time, folks. So while watching this, and I did make the comparison I made earlier. I was like, so you think Krogan's gonna become the dragon to Drago? I was just joking!
Yeah, it's revealed that, from Stoic's flashback, from his encounter with Drago, that Krogan actually worked for him.
Worked for Drago.
In fact, he was there during that whole raid, during the meeting of the chiefs. Now, I'm kind of torn between that. For one, I kind of like the idea that
Drago is doing it by himself.
No. What I do like is that it's pretty much foreshadowing that Hiccup will be fighting Drago later on in the future. So it's almost like this whole idea of the past will always come back. Some things are just never unfinished. But on the other hand, this series is very loosely connected with its movies. I mean, if you look on the IMDb page, Heather is pretty much disconnected from the movies. Which is kind of a sad thing. So I almost feel like this is kind of like a. I hate to be too very, very blunt or direct about this, but a half-assed attempt at trying to connect the series to the movies.
Speaking of disconnect, look, what do you think of her read of a certain line?
Who's read?
Astrid.
Where'd you get Astrid from, Heather?
Oh, sorry. Hey, speaking of that, hey, do you know the big bat escaped by an ass fart?
Yes, pulled an ass blaster method. That's
wow. That we went back to Tremors territory. Wow, this season likes Tremors.
Yeah, it does. But we have some nitpicks, but there are some good moments about this two-parter. The nitpicks are, I think for part 2, it was just an off day for America Ferrera in the recording booth because some of her lines were just really flat and forced. I mean,
no, that's impossible. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Hiccup. I saw Vigo. Not quite that bad, but I assure you, when
it would have been awesome if that happened. You know what? I really hope they do release DVDs, and they actually do have outtakes, and someone decided to just do an impression of Tommy Wiseau.
But no, seriously, when Astrid sees Vigo still alive, she's like, no, that's impossible. So I'm like,
you almost sounded like Mark Wahlberg from The Happening.
What? No. I know. It's just
okay. Okay. The other one is for part one from the twins. Mostly Tough Nut. They really seem to.
Hombre. You gotta go speak Spanish. You gotta go speak Spanish.
Troquito.
No hablo español. Okay, look, you're a Viking. Act like it.
It's not about It's not about the fact that they spoke Spanish. It's just that it felt dragged on. Isn't it?
It's not even dragged on. Kind of like disconnect.
The disconnect.
To me, it was like a disconnect. You're not Genie, so why are they speaking Spanish?
Well, Spain does. I'm pretty sure Spain still does exist.
I know Spain exists, but they're Vikings. And
so you're saying Trader Johann probably didn't bring any books from Spain?
I don't know. I don't know if they had their language. Could they understand the language? So, but it just feels like a Genie moment. Like, like, oh, hombre, Maria, yo, that's Rocco. I'm like,
I know. So, yeah. So, along with the plot of trying to think of how the writers can get back the edge, fighting the Flyers, and also trying to avoid the idea that maybe they would have to harm the Singe-Tails, there's this B plot that Roughnut saves Throck, and so now he's indebted to her, and it's just like I said, it goes on too long, just for my taste, really.
Though it did give us the best slow-mo shot.
It does give us right, the chicken slow-mo. We haven't seen that since Bad Moon Rising.
I know. I was like, yes.
Part two though is kind of where things do pick up a bit. However, but actually, I just remembered something before we get to part two. Is in part one when the writers return back to Burke, there's the interaction between Hiccup and Stoic. I feel was very well done, because Stoic essentially now takes over the plan to fight, and it kind of goes back to that movie one mentality. If dragons are attacking, we're gonna have to fight back. And what's amazing is that it takes place in the Great Hall, where that huge interaction took place. Only this time they kind of added a little something new, and it's of Hiccup just looking up at the stone pillars of the Vikings holding their swords. That was actually a great way of showing just the fact, showing that his apprehension. I think that's the word I'm looking for. His reluctancy
to be a warrior,
to go back to the old ways. Now on for part two.
No,
this is kind of where it does get a little entertaining.
Okay, it's more entertaining because of one particular person, one doctor who time traveled to become a Viking.
Mm-hmm. Yes, David Tennant comes back as Spyloud, who does live up to his name.
He is pretty spiteful.
Yes, he is. He names one of the Singe-Tails Stoic because he thinks highly of himself.
And this dragon never does anything.
Yeah, and he's been hoarding rations and studying the Singe-Tails because, like, I was here first.
And he wants revenge.
Yeah. So it was it was an interesting team up that I liked. That it was kind of refreshing to see, with Spiteloud and Hiccup.
And it's kind of nice to see that it's not only Hiccup who can study dragons.
Mm-hmm.
You never actually really see that often. In fact, it's like Hiccup is the only one who can do this.
Mm-hmm. But then again, you know, the Dragon Hunters, they weren't completely ignorant either.
No, but anything outside Dragon Hunters anything outside of Dragon Hunters or Hiccup, apparently no one knows how to do it.
Not even Astrid?
Well, I said Dragon Hunter or Hiccup's team.
You mean the writers?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, so yeah, that's kind of why that makes this very interesting, because it's not the typical, you know, writer's way of studying dragons. It's just Spitelout's way, and that
Spitelout, and he's not scientific at all about this.
No. So they do manage to capture apparently the
Death Note.
I guess the alpha of the group, the alpha of the group, and it's when this moment happens that we just saw the ending coming a mile away, because you could just stick like a road sign right over there and says, "This direction to the resolution." Yes, and that's the signal fire. They'll be coming now. Now you'll have plenty of time to study them.
Okay, I love how nonchalant he is. Like, he's like cracking his back.
Yeah.
Now you have done plenty of time to study him, my boy.
Yeah.
He's not even worried. He
sits there while
all
fires are around, and he's like nostalgia critic when Angry Joe blows up in the Batman v Superman review.
And then you get to interactions with Krogan, and Krogan is literally trying to backstab Vigo.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, but of course, Vigo. I don't think those scars on Vigo's neck are just not for show or sex appeal. Yeah, it means that he does. It means that he does have experience, and I'm pretty sure this is not the first time that someone had tried to backstab him. I mean, look what he did to his brother.
Yeah. And honestly, it just... I still think Vigo is the bigger villain here.
He is the better villain.
No, not even better. He is still the bigger villain. I mean, look at him. He's mocking him for his lack of intelligence. Like, send up all the forces! We shall overwhelm them with numbers. But you have nothing in reserves.
Yeah.
What happens when you lose? Oh, they won't lose.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. You're losing. Maybe you should have played more maces and talons.
Maybe you can throw all those little pieces at them.
Again, that's kind of what makes Krogan at least tolerable in this, but again, he's kind of a bland villain.
Honestly, he was much more better when he didn't speak.
Yeah. Like I said, he was like the Boba Fett of dragons.
Yeah, when you make Boba Fett speak, he kind of loses the coolness.
Mm-hmm.
So
he was more interesting in the mystery, in the enigma. Since he is actually the main villain, there's not a lot to him, or at least there's not a lot written to him.
Yeah,
might want to work on that.
Yeah, though on that, if I had to rate this, what the good part that I will give to it is when we get to the middle of part 2 is when the Burkians are heading into battle. They're charging forward.
Yes, there was some good cinematography on that.
Yes.
Yeah, but, well, for the leading up to the battle.
When the
battle started, it was typical.
It was like you can tell they went to do some cutting corners and shortcuts, mostly reusing the same frames.
Or they didn't. I don't know about reusing the same frames, but it wasn't. I guess distinguished. It didn't stand out as much as some of the other battles. I mean, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go back through all the episodes to see the dragon battles, but still, I do know that they still have a limited budget, so they can't really spend all their money on the whole crazy whooshy and
flashy.
The flashy. I mean, but at least the 2-parter did start off with a very long POV shot
It did.
Yeah, from Hiccup's perspective, there have been POV shots before in the series and in the movies, but never one. I can't remember anyone that lasted this long. And it's kind of what I liked.
Yeah. Also, you want to know what else I liked? Like father, like son.
Yes.
It's like, where's Hiccup?
He flew off.
I hate it when he flies off.
Where's Stoic? Where's my dad?
He launched a preemptive strike.
I hate it when he launches preemptive strikes.
Good kudos, man.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Another good scene that I did like was when Tough Nut finally, tells the truth to Throck about what really happened when he was knocked unconscious and, Rough Nut saved him. But they really don't say anything. It's kind of more, we don't hear what's being said. They kind of act it out while music plays. It's kind of like a comedic version of DreamWorks' first animated movie, The Prince of Egypt. I mean, we saw what happened. We don't really need to be told of a recap. We can just see them act it out. And it was funny and also very well thought, in my opinion.
Also, another well thought out, it's very subtle joke. And seriously, I almost missed it too.
Oh my god, and I just can't believe that's they decided to end the whole arc on this.
Yeah. So, okay, subtlety here. So, when we're ending this episode, and Snot was like, what's up with this shipwreck over there? It goes to Throck massaging Rough Nut's feet. And by the way, the joke hit me when I was like, shipwreck. Oh. He's talking about the ship of Throck and Rough Nut, right? Shippers?
So wait, would the ship name be like Throcknut?
I guess?
Or Thruff?
Thruff?
Thruffnut?
Thruffnut.
So that was kind of funny. I kind of do like it when shows decide to lean on the fourth wall, because it does show that they're actually listening to their fans. Ruby does that very expertly.
Yes.
And Steven Universe has actually done that a couple times.
Yes. And I can't believe it took a second viewing for me to catch that.
Yeah. But it went over my head mostly because Shipwreck is just, well, it's not about relationships. It's really about fate. It's just that something that just fails. Something that fails.
Yes.
So it's a disaster.
A disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah. So for that, like you said, it was very subtle, but so pretty clever.
Oh yeah. Good job, DreamWorks.
Right. Yeah.
Now then, well, we're gonna end this. Okay, DreamWorks, we're gonna do this again. Ready for this? Ready?